Long ago, in Obiegu village, it was the yam harvest season. The yams did well and the villagers were happy with the high yields. Before sunrise, Okafor, his wife Ndidi, and his children Obi and Ezinne could be seen walking through the narrow bush path that led to their small farm with happy faces, carrying hoes, cutlasses, and baskets to harvest their yams. Bird song filled the air as birds awakened, their melodic calls echoing through the trees. The chirping of crickets and the occasional croak of a frog could also be heard. And after a long day of toiling on their farm, the Okafor family returned to their small hut with baskets of yams. Okafor was an upright and hard-working man with worn-out hands from years of farming. His wife, Ndidi, was very supportive. Apart from helping on the farm, she also took care of their home with love and attention. Their children, Obi and Ezinne, were obedient and hardworking, always happy to help with household chores and farm work. Even if the proceeds from their farm could barely sustain the family, they were happy and content with their lives. The Okafor family usually stored the biggest yam tubers from their harvest for their own use, selling off the rest at the market in exchange for money to meet their other needs. Besides their humble hut was a magnificent mansion, the house of Mazi Ike. Mazi Ike was so wealthy. He had many houses, hectares of farmland, gigantic bands of yams, herds of goats, servants, and even slaves. He was so wealthy that he was considered the second richest man in the land after the king. Mazike never wanted to help anyone. In fact, if a villager was to ask him for help, he would lend him money with outrageous interest, and if the person was unable to pay back the money at the agreed time, the person instantly becomes his slave. In some cases, the person's family members would also be taken as his slaves. This made people to fear him so much in the village. Mazi Ike had three wives. Apart from his first wife, who gave birth to Uju, their only daughter, the rest had no children. As a little girl, Uju walked in the footsteps of her father. Just like her father, she was rude, arrogant, and greedy. She had no respect for elders in the village. She maltreated her father's slaves and servants and made fun of poor people in the village. As years swept by, Obi, Ezinne, and Mazi Ike's daughter, Uju, matured into adulthood. While Obi and Ezinne remained well-grounded and industrious, Uju flaunted her beauty and her father's wealth with pride. On a calm afternoon, when the yams were not yet mature for harvest, as Obi and Ezinne were weeding their parents' farm, a sudden cry pierced the quiet air. "Ah, my leg!" Obi shouted in anguish as he held his right leg in pain. Ezinne's heart skipped a beat, and in an instant she dropped her cutlass and rushed to her brother. "What happened, Obi? Are you all right?" she asked in fear. "A snake, Ezinne! It bit me!" Obi gasped, his face expressing the pain he was feeling. "Hold on, Obi, you'll be fine," she assured him with trembling voice. Tears flowed from her eyes as she raced home as fast as her legs could carry her to inform her parents. In panic, Okafor and Ndidi followed their daughter back to the farm, where they found Obi in pain, lying pale and weak on the ground. His injured leg was swollen and it was difficult for him to breathe. "We must seek help immediately," Okafor said, panting. Nai, please do something. We have to save our son's life. I can't lose my son, Ndidi cried. They managed to take him home and laid him on a mat under the shade of their hut. In a desperate bid to save his son's life, Okafor summoned the local healer known for treating snake bites. When the local healer arrived, he stooped down to examine Obi's injured leg. The local healer explained that Obi was bitten by a puff adder, a very poisonous snake. The snake did not inject all its venom, so Obi had barely 2 days to live if left untreated. The local healer also added that the treatment would cost 100 cowries. On hearing this, Okafor, Ndidi, and Ezinne were so afraid for Obi's life. Okafor and Ndidi exchanged a worried glance. They knew that they did not have such a large sum of money. After the local healer left, Okafor was deep in thought as he leaned on the wall of their hut. How would I raise 100 cowries? If I sell off my farmland, I would be able to pay for Obi's treatment, Okafor thought. Okafor called the attention of his wife and daughter to make known his decision. I have resolved to sell off our farmland to raise money for Obi's treatment, Okafor disclosed. Ndidi consented, her eyes stained with tears. It is painful to lose our only source of livelihood, but we cannot bear to lose our only son. I agree to the sale of the farm. God will take care of our needs. With footsteps of a father willing to sacrifice everything for the life of his son, Okafor made his way to Mazi Ike's mansion. While in the mansion, Okafor offered to sell his farmland to Mazi Ike for 500 cowries, a fair price for the land. But Mazi Ike saw an opportunity to exploit Okafor's desperation for his own gain. With a smile as sharp as a blade, Mazi Ike agreed to buy the land, but for 200 cowries, a far lower price than the land's actual worth. Despite much pleading from Okafor for Mazi Ike to increase the price, considering that he would also claim ownership of the crops they were yet to harvest, Mazi Ike did not budge. Left with no other choice, Okafor parted with his birthright. The land was his only inheritance from his late father and had served as a source of income for the family till that moment. With the money Okafor received, he paid the local healer for Obi's treatment, and soon Obi became well. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, and the season for harvesting yams set in. It was now clear that the yams in Okafor's barn were getting used up, but this time they could no longer replenish their food supply since their farm was sold together with the yams they would have harvested for their own use. Soon their yams were exhausted and they had to fall back on what was left from the sale of their farm to feed. With each passing day, the little money they had left began to vanish, and suddenly hunger crept in. What will become of the Okafor family? Watch out for part 2 of Ezinne'S Necklace. Please like, share, and subscribe for more stories. Thank you for watching. Have a blissful day.